Welcome one and all in video lecture series of Structural Design 1. Myself VM Mahajan. Today we are going to learn unit number 4th A part, that is design of laterally supported beam. So dealing with design of laterally supported beam, first of all we are going to learn the introduction. Dealing with this laterally supported beam is nothing but a structural member subjected to transfer load, or is nothing but the load applied perpendicular to the longitudinal axis of the member. If you see this axis, ZZ axis, or along x axis, so whatever the vertical load is perpendicular to this longitudinal axis, member are placed horizontally and subjected to vertical loading. Load transfer mechanism is due to the only bending and the shear, means whatever the vertical load is applied perpendicular to the longitudinal axis, so the bending may take place in this direction. Remember, when used in building to support the roof as a term as a joist. Here if you look at this member is called as a joist, where this beam is supported, beam is placed over the joist, members are placed, known as a member when used in building to support the roof, so called as a joist. Next, member supporting number of joists are termed as a girder. Member carrying a roof load and roof covering loads are known as a purling. If you see, so these are the longitudinal member which is placed in case of roof truss of a building, so the term is known as a purling. Member carrying load above opening is termed as a lintel. Stringer are member in bridges lying in the direction of traffic. Then if you see the differences between the laterally supported beam and laterally unsupported beam, so we'll find out. So what is meant by first laterally supported beam? We know that top flanges are related to compression flange or compression member, so where we are going to design as a maximum bending moment, and here we are going to check the shear for this web, or we can also check for web buckling and web crippling. So dealing with laterally supported beam is nothing but the lateral buckling of compression flange of beam is known as a, or is can be controlled or known as a restraint. If you see for example, this is the concrete section or RCC section where I section is placed, and if you look at so here these two vertical little section which is provided as a stud. So in addition to this concrete RC section and I section which is placed in case of beam, so this section is known as a stud, and here we are going to design as a laterally supported beam. So normally two I section we can place like this, and which is joined by a bracing or known as a diagonal member called as a bracing member. So this kind of laterally supported beam we can use in case of floor slab, floor beams, or such kind of system is known as a bracing system, which provide or we can check the lateral buckling which restrain the buckling phenomena. So normally, so this web buckle like this in left hand side or maybe in right hand side. The buckling may be laterally for total cross section in the flange, or we can call as a in the web section also. Simultaneously, laterally unsupported beam is nothing but so if you look at the bottom flange of this I section is designed or maybe designed as a laterally unsupported beam, means we can here there is a no support here we can provided, so we ultimately called as a laterally unsupported beam. So simultaneously here, so whatever the top flange, if you see in the first figure, so here, so such kind of supports we are going to provide in the reinforced concrete section. So it is called as a laterally supported beam. If you see so lateral buckling or compression is possible, and no such lateral restraint is available in case of girder, and hence buckles laterally. Then coming to next point, design of laterally supported beam as per the Indian standard 800/2007. So first of all, we are going to design we are going to find out the effective span as per the clause number 8.8.1. So effective span of beam is nothing but the distance between the center of the support or length between the assumed line of reaction. If B is the width of the support and L is a clear span of the beam, then so we can find out the effective span is denoted by L effective is equal to L plus B by 2 plus B by 2, means left hand side and right hand side. Here we are going to take the half of width of support. So finally L plus B. So clear span plus width of support. Second term we are going to find out the bending moment. Now axial force acting on the section may be assumed to be resisted by the flanges only, and the web is designed to resist the shear only. Here we are going to find out the shear force. Then shear strength of section as per the clause number 8.4. The factor design shear force designated by V in a beam due to the external action shall be satisfied where V less than equal to Vd. So Vd is called as a design shear strength, so which is equal to shear area is designated by the A suffix V into Fyw whole divided by under root of 3 into gamma m0, where Av is equal to H into Tw, where H is the depth of I section for roll section into thickness of web. If we are going to find out the shear area for welded section, then effective depth of I section here we are going to take into thickness of web. Then fourth point, if the factor design shear force does not exceed 0.6 times of design shear strength, 0.6 times of Vd, the design bending strength is designated by MD shall be taken as per the clause number 8.2.1.2, and here design bending strength MD is equal to beta B into Zp into Fy divided by gamma m0. So this kind of condition is here we are going to design to avoid the irreversible deformation under the serviceability loads. So MD shall be less than 1.2 times of Zd into Fy divided by gamma m0 in case of simply supported beam, and 1.5 times of Zd into Fy divided by gamma m0 in cantilever beams, where beta B is 1 for plastic and compact section. Normally here we are going to design the plastic section, compact section, and rarely semi compact section. We cannot design for slender section. Beta B is the ratio of Zd divided by Zp for semi compact section, where Zp and Zd are the plastic and elastic section moduli of the cross section respectively. Fy is yield stress of the material in Newton per mm square. Gamma m0 is partial safety factor as per the clause number 5.4.1. Fourth design step, when the design factor shear V exceeds 0.6 times of Vd, the design bending stress Md shall be taken as Md is equal to Mdv. So M of Fd is equal to J of Fd into Fy divided by gamma m0, which is also equal to Af into H minus Tf into Fy divided by gamma m0. Coming to next point, resistance to shear buckling as per the clause number 8.2.1.1 when the flanges are plastic and the compact or semi-compact. Here we are going to design, but web is susceptible to shear buckling before the yielding. So here we are going to check the D by TW ratio is less than 67 times of E. In short, there is a no shear buckling if the ratio is satisfied. Here the details regarding which is given: plastic or compact section, MdV is equal to Md minus beta of Md minus of M of Fd less than equal to 1.2 times of Zd into Fy divided by gamma m0, and all details regarding plastic and compact section as well as semi compact section which is given in the IS code. Then various checks are needed to check for design of beam. First check is nothing but the check for web buckling. Means if you see the I section is buckled like this, means half part of top section buckling like this and half of bottom section like this. So web of I section may buckle like this, also like this, and such kind of situation may arise. So here we are going to check for web buckling. The web in roll section behaves like a column, and when placed under the concentrated load or reaction, as the web is thin, therefore subjected to buckling. Web buckling strength F of WB greater than equal to ultimate shear or factor shear Vu. So where F of FWB, where W is a web, B is a buckling, and F is the strength. So whole F of WB is nothing but the web buckling strength is equal to B into TW into F of CD. For FCD, here we are going to find out the lambda slenderness ratio is equal to 2.45 times of D1 divided by TW as per the clause number IS code 800-2007, and also we are going to follow the table number of 9C, where B is the steep bearing length plus D by 2 for reactions. Here reactions may be denoted by R. Next we can take the B is equal to again steep bearing length plus D for concentrated load. Here the point load or eccentric load is given, where in case of numericals, so this steep bearing length for this laterally supported beam, here we are going to assume 100 also. Then check for web crippling. So web cripple like this at this particular top flange and intersection of web, and it may occurs or may fail like this. So whatever this phenomena is nothing but the web crippling. Means here the concentrated load which acting vertically downward directions and web are buckle or crippling like this. Because of this, whatever the load which is acting over the top flange, or maybe failure from the bottom section also, where the reactions are acting vertically upward directions. Loads and reaction are concentrated along the length of flange of beam, are resisted by the compressive forces or stresses in the web, and the stress concentration occurs at the junction of web and flange. So whatever this stress concentration always occur either in top flange or bottom flange, and in addition to the junction of web. The web near to the stress portion tends to fold over the flange. Next we are going to find out the bearing strength against the crippling. So it is denoted by F of W, or which is also equal to F of WC, where C is a crippling, W is web, and F is the strength. So FW is equal to effective cross sectional area AE into F YW divided by gamma m0, where A is the effective cross sectional area, B1 into TW, where B1 we are going to find out B plus twice N for concentrated load and B1 is equal to B plus N1 for reaction at supports. So N1 value will be the 2.5 times of thickness of flange plus R1. And last check is check for deflection as per the table number 6, page number 31. Here two supports are given and the load acting vertically downward direction at the center of this beam. So small deflection of the beam do not cause structural problem in the generally, but the excessive deflection maybe leads to the crack may occurs and damage to the attached material in case of beam section. So if the simple span is there or simply supported beam is there, so span divided by 300 to span divided by 240. So here we are going to check for this deflection. If it is gantry girder is there, so span divided by 500 ratio we are going to take. So first is simply supported beam, vertical load is there, so deflection may be WL by 4 and the deflection total theta into L by 3. So whole equation will be the WL cube divided by 48 times of EI, where E is a elasticity modulus and I is a moment of inertia. If it is next beam, so WL by 8 is equal to 5 times of WL raised to 4 divided by 384 times of EI. Thank you.